Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I am your host of Teslanomics Live, Ben Sullins, and this is the show where we break down the biggest Tesla news from the previous week. And what I want to do is first let you know that this will run about an hour, so hang on and grab a coffee or something. And also, if you're watching this after the fact, I will put a comment on the YouTube section there with timestamps of every story that we cover. That way you can just jump straight to it and you don't have to kind of sift through the entire thing. Also, in the description for this video after it posts, I will have links to all the stories and everything I cover, as well as any other promotional type stuff that I mention. And if you're wondering how to get on Crowdcast and join that, you need to do so by going to our email list, which is at teslanomics.co. And I will jump in without further ado. Okay, so we're doing a big thing coming up with TeslaCon, and so that's why we're asking for people to go like our Facebook page. We'll start announcing some things on the Facebook page and start doing giveaways and things like that coming soon. So there's kind of the pitch on that. Now, the main story today, which was what I'm calling my short, so the thing I'm against, the thing I'm not stoked on, was from last week, where the new GOP, the Republican tax plan, would essentially kill the EV tax credit in the United States. So I'm going to share my screen here, and then that way you guys can see what's going on. We'll start here. And we'll kind of dive through this. I've done a little bit of research, and this is a developing story, so by the time you're watching this, things may change a little bit. But hopefully they do. Okay, so basically, the GOP, which is the Republican Party here in the United States, recently announced their new tax bill, their tax reform. They want to simplify the tax code. They want to bolster the economy in the United States by simplifying things. Paul Ryan famously held up a postcard where you could complete your taxes, or most people could. And when you break it down, what it looks like this is favoring the oil and gas companies, which President Trump has said that he wants to do. And one of the ways they're doing that is that the EV tax credit would be eliminated. So if you're unfamiliar, in the United States, we have a tax credit for electric vehicles in the tune of $7,500. And this is for, there are varying levels of qualification here, but the big thing that a lot of people are talking about is what this would do for Tesla with the Model 3. Some analysts are basically marking this as the death of the EV in America, where I have a different take on it. But I didn't just want to talk and share those headlines with you. I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper. So I found a great breakdown here on the New York Times about kind of what this means for you, because someone did email me a good question here and said, hey, well, yeah, they're getting rid of that, but would I save more money anyways based on the other tax cuts? And so I found some data on that, and here's some examples here. This is from the New York Times, as I mentioned, where they'll be simplifying the income tax rate. They'll be reducing it in some cases and raising it in others. And you can kind of see on the left what is currently the amount of income that is taxed versus what the new proposed tax rates would be. And so, looking at all of this, I could not find a place where you would be saving more money than it would be the federal tax credit for the EV. But I will point you at this, and you can kind of just see the breakdown here of where people are and what this might mean for you. The New York Times does a fantastic job of this stuff. I love looking at data. Obviously, that's kind of what my channel is about. And in fact, Time had a really good article too that actually breaks it down, by person. I think this is the right one. Right here, this little chart which said, here are the different scenarios, right? And they have individuals, they have married couples, 1 kid, 2 kids, etc., what that means. And then at the bottom here, you can kind of see the current law, and then what the new proposed amount would be. So basically what percentage change or what a dollar amount difference it would be to you. I like the idea of simplifying the tax credits, the taxes in the United States. I do think that it basically unfairly helps people that know how to get around it, or different. Once you reach higher income levels, there are more loopholes available to you, basically ways of hiding money. And so I do like the notion of simplifying that so it's more fair. I don't think this is a good plan, and I think it would hurt a lot of Americans, and that's kind of a consensus that a lot of people are coming to as well. Now, partially, I believe that because living in California, we would be one of the things I want to cap is the housing credit, which is in America, the interest you pay on your mortgage, your home, you get to deduct from your taxes, and they want to cap that at $500,000, meaning the amount of that you owe on your home being $500,000, which $500,000 is a lot of money, no doubt. However, places like California in general, and say New York City, for example, that's actually not an unreasonable amount to owe on a home. So this would kind of disproportionately affect kind of the blue states, as you say, the people that the higher net income and net worth areas of the country. And so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think that because of the mortgage interest thing, that they're going to have a hard time passing this. So, in fact, there's an article here from Politico about the housing lobby, who is essentially taking out ads and doing everything they can to stop this from happening. And so this isn't a done deal. A lot of people are really scared about this. I got a lot of emails. Thank you for all that stuff. I love that what you guys send over, is also the relevant stuff that I want to talk about on the show. And so there's two key pieces of the current plan, unless that's changed in the past, 8 hours or so that I haven't seen. And that is that it would, like, as I mentioned, cap the mortgage interest deduction, and then it would also eliminate the state and the local tax exemptions. So, for example, if I pay state tax, I can deduct that from my federal income tax and things like that. So, these are two big provisions that the housing lobby, and if you're not familiar with that, is basically the realtors of America and the home builders. They all get together and pour their money into an industry association, which then has lobbying power, which donates to people's campaigns and these kind of things. They are immensely powerful, and they are completely opposed to this, and they are taking out every measure in which way possible they can to kill this bill. Now, given the track record of the Republican Party over the past over the current administration, they haven't really been able to pass any of the major things that they've wanted to do. So I'm not really, I'm kind of optimistic that this will fail as well. However, it may actually be reformed. There may be changes that happen in the next phase, which is in the Senate. And it may come out that they don't kill the EV tax credit. I obviously think that helping EVs become more mainstream is helping us with climate change, also helping us to move us towards a more sustainable future, just in terms of our energy use and consumption. So I'm obviously against it for those reasons. However, I do like the idea of reforming the tax bill, the tax system here in the United States. Now, my take on it is that it won't actually affect Tesla nearly as much as other people think. So when you think about Tesla, and when you think about the buyers of Teslas, there are the people that are looking for the budget car, the Model 3, right? And that there's a lot of people out there, right? Probably a lot of you fall into that category, and I get that, and that makes sense. However, Tesla is still an amazing premium car. And if you look at, let's say, the market for the BMW 3 Series or Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that is still a very large market with a lot of people that can afford this car regardless of the tax credit. As you see, my prediction is, as you see more and more of them on the road, and videos on YouTube and everybody having fun with them, and just how advanced and how awesome they are, kind of the it factor that they've already generated or captured, that will continue to grow. And I don't think whether or not there's an EV tax credit will hurt Tesla all that much, because I don't think they're the budget shopper, audience as much as maybe other people do. yes, I think the EV tax credit will hurt EV adoption in the United States, but I think companies like Chevy, who are already seeing inventory stockpiles of the Chevy Bolt, and Nissan with the new Leaf coming out, I think they're going to be affected far more, simply because those options are not the sexy, gotta have it, this is amazing, give me this awesome thing cars, right? Those are it's an EV, I like that, it's very practical, it's functional, whatever, right? I mean, granted, I think both the Chevy Bolt and the Nissan Leaf 2018 are great EVs, but they don't have that it factor that the Tesla does. So I think this will disproportionately hurt them compared to Tesla. So I'm not too worried when it comes to Tesla, really at all. But I am worried about what this may mean for EV adoption in the U.S. And then more broadly, I'm really not that concerned because the Republicans haven't been able to pass hardly any of the major legislation, if any, that I can even think of. So yeah, we'll see as the story develops. Of course, I'll be back here updating you guys. And yeah, stay tuned and send me in all those suggestions and questions. And if you are watching this after the fact on YouTube or Facebook, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I mean, do you think I'm completely wrong? You think it'll pass? Why? They haven't been able to do anything so far. So I'd love to know your thoughts on that, as well as if you think it will hurt Tesla, why, and how much. Okay, so next story we're going to take a look at is something Tesla related that is kind of on the negative side, and this is the delays in the Model 3. So if you haven't heard or haven't paid attention to this recently, Tesla has delayed the production of the Model 3. If you go on to Tesla.com, and let me go ahead and just try this while we're here on the phone, even though it's not the phone. We'll take a look at this. You can now see where your reservation lives. If you're signed in, you go to Tesla.com/Model 3. And I'm showing this because I get a lot of questions about this. And then you say, check your estimated delivery. Once you click on that, and maybe if possibly the website works and isn't broken, you can see now what it says here. So for me, it used to say October to December. Now it says November to January. By the way, it's November 6th. Not sure, unless they plan on giving it to me at the semi-event next week, which I doubt. And then I have another reservation here. So to me, it looked like they pushed it back a month. Other folks are saying that they pushed it back a few more months. And so we'll see. But the delays are due to the battery module assembly line, which leads us to our next story, which is about Elon Musk spending the night on the Gigafactory roof. I love this so much. And he's just talking about the reason he did this was because it was much faster than driving back to the hotel in Reno and then driving back to the Gigafactory. So he and JB, the chief technology officer, I think he is, have been staying there, working through them. On the recent earnings call, they went through all the details of this. I encourage you to go listen to it if you really want to hear firsthand from him. But of course, I'm going to try to simplify that for you. Now, one of the things about this that was interesting to me was this story about Tesla shipping cars without seats and digital displays. And people kind of went nuts on this of like, oh my God, how could you do this? Now, this was originally from the Financial Times, and I'll have links to all these down there. And the deal about this is this makes a lot of sense to me. And I can't confirm this, but these details specifically, but I can say that after talking with some of the people I know at Tesla, that this is a strategy that they considered where the Model 3 being so standardized in its options, you could pretty much ship it with only a couple things missing. So for example, whether or not you need 18 or 19-inch wheels, we don't have to know that before we build the car. The color we can probably predict. And so we can, just make a bunch of these cars in advance of people ordering them, ship them out to places using data and kind of algorithms to figure out where and when, because people have already given us their preferences and all this stuff. So we can kind of prime the pump here. And so it totally makes sense to me. And I think the article was aimed at saying, oh my God, why would you do this? These guys are wacko, whatever. But I think this is a brilliant strategy. Now, in the more custom cars, it's obviously much harder to do that. that. But with the Model 3, there aren't too many options you can really choose from yet. So yeah, so this was an interesting story that came up, and I just wanted to bring it up because I think this actually is a good idea. Okay, so there's that. Next, let me update you on TeslaCon before we get into our next big story. TeslaCon, if you're unfamiliar, is it's an online gathering of us Tesla fans and enthusiasts and the EV fans, so kind of the broader community as well. And the idea is to basically come together and share ideas and create new ones to accelerate the transition together. And I kind of think of it as Comic-Con for Tesla fans. So at TeslaCon, and it's an online event, so you'll be able to watch from wherever you are. You'll be able to interact with your favorite community leaders directly, just like the folks here on Crowdcast are able to ask questions and people can vote on those questions. So only the most important ones bubble up to the top, unlike if you ever get stuck at a conference and somebody's asking a long, ridiculous question that no one cares about. That won't happen here. It's much more streamlined. So the people that you know and love already, maybe even you donate to their Patreon pages, all of those things are going to be come together in a much more intimate setting here. Now, you can sign up for updates, and that is really important because we are going to unleash the early bird ticket sales this Thursday. So everybody on the email list will get a notification. Outside of that, people aren't going to get notifications. So if you want to save money on ticket prices, go get on the email list now at teslacon.online, and then you'll get that invite starting this Thursday. After that, you'll miss out on the early bird deal, and then it'll be normal all access passes. So there's that. We do have a couple new speakers, but first let's just take a look at who's already coming. And we have Robert Llewellyn as our keynote speaker. He hosts the show Fully Charged. He is also on the show Red Dwarf in the UK. He's been on several other shows. He's a distinguished comedian and actor, and a recognizable figure in the renewable energy and green kind of movement space. We have Trevor Page from Model 3 Owners Club, who did that fantastic review just a week or so ago. It's over an hour long, really covering every inch of the Model 3. You have Zach and Jesse from Now You Know, who also have a great YouTube channel. You have Saul Lopez from Spain, who is coming to us through Paris. He'll host a session in Spanish and a session in English. So the Spanish session will kind of be invite only and available to his fans that are used to his channel, which is in Spanish. But he'll also be doing one in English for the rest of us. Then Rich, the car guru, will be there, which is going to be amazing. I love his content. It's so funny, and he's just done some amazing stuff. So, and then we have a relative newcomer, Kathy Chen, who is a younger YouTuber from California that is doing some amazing stuff, sharing her journey there as well. Now, the other thing I want to mention. So first off, go get on the email list. There's that. I want to talk about two other things that I haven't announced before, and that is, first, we are going to have a pre-conference workshop. So on December 15th, the day before, so this is on a Saturday, so you don't have to take off work or anything. The day before, on December 15th, we've added a day. Now, this is a day dedicated to new Tesla owners, new EV owners, or maybe Model 3 reservation holders, people that will become new Tesla owners soon. And it's hosted by Roger Pressman from EV Annex. So let me just pull up the site. EVNX is a provider of aftermarket products for Teslas and other EVs. And they have some other cool products as well. They have a great blog. And one of the things they have is something called EV University. So EV University is basically everything you need to know to really have a successful experience, have a good experience, manage things like your personal charging infrastructure, deal with charging in public, how to care for your EV, and everything in between, how to drive it, how to get the most, how to maximize your range, etc., etc. Now, Roger is one of the owners of EV Annex, and he also is an author that has many books, one of which is right here, called Getting Ready for Model 3. I thought it was called Preparing for Model 3, but there you go. Getting Ready for Model 3. Now, so he's going to host a half-day session basically going through everything in this book, so that way when you do get your Model 3 or new EV or new Model S or X, you know everything you need to, and you can really save a lot of time and really prevent from making a lot of those mistakes. So That's big news. Pre-conference workshop day for new EV owners. Also, we're going to be giving away a $500 gift card to EV Annex. The first 50 people to buy tickets will get a free book, or they will get a license plate cover, and everybody that attends TeslaCon will get a discount to EV Annex. So they are our ludicrous sponsor, and I am so grateful to have them because I think this is going to be really valuable for all of you guys out there that are maybe new to this, or even if you have an EV already or a Tesla and you just want to know more. These guys are super knowledgeable, far more than I am, and I'm really excited to have them. So lots of giveaways, pre-conference workshop, and tickets going on sale this Thursday, so stay tuned for that. Now, the ticket prices we are going to announce. So the early bird ticket sales will be $199 US. The all access after the early bird days deal is up, it'll be $249. And then lastly, we have a VIP session, which is unbelievably cool, and here's why. It's limited to 10 people. Okay, so there's only 10 people that are going to get access to this. And with that, you get a private session, backstage access to myself and several of the other speakers there, like the ones I just mentioned, as well as Kim and her husband from Like Tesla. So if you're familiar with them and you've always wondered, who is that man behind the camera? Who's that speaking back there? You'll get to actually see him on camera and ask questions just like you can here in a real interactive session in Crowdcast. So those tickets would be $399, and they're very limited, which is why the price is high, because it's very exclusive access. So I hope you guys are excited about this. It's on December 16th. Go get on the email list now so you can take advantage of the early bird ticket prices. And it's at teslacon.online, as well as go make sure to like our Facebook page, because that's where we're going to be sharing a bunch of updates about this and giving away things like free tickets, free t-shirts, and those kind of things. So thank you for letting me share that with you, because I am super excited about this, and I hope you guys are as well. Okay, next up we have my long for the week. And the long is the thing I'm long on, the thing I'm excited about. This is the Tesla earnings call. So Tesla recently, on November 1st, last week, had their earnings call. And in their earnings call, they had they had a lot of updates for us. They had some good news and some bad news. I'll give you kind of the high-level bullets here. The first one is that they have now surpassed 250,000 vehicles delivered since inception. So that's not just the U.S., that's worldwide. I'll have to check in with the guys at Inside EVs about where they are in the U.S., but 250,000 vehicles overall, which 5 years ago they only had 2,500. And Elon kind of defensively, so that's a word, in defense of their growth and some of the skeptics out there now, he came out and said, look, how many of you 5 years ago, when we only had 2,500 cars delivered, would guess that 5 years later we'd have 100 times growth? 100x growth in 5 years is incredible. And so, he was kind of saying, think about where we'll be in 5 more years. And so, when you have your skepticism, maybe think twice about it. And I think he's right. So in Q3 of 2017, there were record Model S and X net orders and deliveries, about 100,000 S and X deliveries projected for all of 2017. The Model 3 production is steadily increasing. I'm just reading you the bullets from their update. Fine, but when your pace is so slow, okay, fine, whatever, I'll give you that one. They have a cash balance of $3.5 billion entering Q4 of 2017, which they'll need. 5 years ago, as they mentioned, had only 2,500 cars, 100x growth in 5 years. But the market is frustrated with the Model 3. We knew this would happen. There's no way Tesla ever gets it 100% right, but this one does seem to be like they're able to they're going to get out of it much sooner. So they did delay the production ramp from getting up to 5,000 cars a week by the end of 2017 to getting up to 5,000 cars towards the end of March of 2018. So a few months shift. Overall, I would say in the grand scheme of things, not a tremendous red flag, but it's something to be aware of. And so yeah, so one quote from the earnings call that I thought was pretty poignant was Elon said, speed is the ultimate weapon, and that producing the Model 3 is proving to be much easier, so to kind of get out of production hell, much easier than it was to get the Model S and X. And so here they did put out a video here about the Model 3 General Assembly, which I think is pretty cool. You can kind of check it out. By the way, there is a lot of stuff in the front of the car. While we know that there's a frunk, there is a lot of stuff still in there, all the wiring and all that stuff. So, okay. So Model 3 is coming along, I guess, is the main point. It'll be here a little bit later than we had hoped, but still really on par. The big question is whether or not the GOP tax bill gets passed and then eliminates EV tax credit. I know that'll be a bummer for a lot of folks. There is, of course, you can't buy an S or X, and so yeah, there is that as well. So you could kind of go through that if you wanted to jump ahead. Okay. And with that, I'll mention a little bit here. So the Tesla referral program is one that obviously I've spoken about in detail. We were the first ones, or still are the only ones that I believe to have achieved. And I'm going to pull it up now so I can show it to you. 100% of the discount towards the next gen Roadster. Yep, still there. No cancellations yet. None of you guys can see that. Hopefully that worked. But now they have level 3 for the secret level. So the way it works is after you hit a certain level and you referred 5 friends in the current program, you got invited to these secret levels. And they've introduced a few of them each step of the way. Step 2 was get to drive a boring machine. I anticipate will be rather boring. And then I would rather be on the boring tunnel thing. That would be much more fun. And then now level 3 is you get to go to a Falcon Heavy rocket launch. I cannot express how excited I am about this. I am such a space nerd. I can't wait to go. Because we've got 100% and you guys have used our code already, our code is actually no longer valid, but we do get all the prizes they unveil, including the free next gen Roadster. Sometime in the future. So I do have a friend's code that I'm giving out. By the way, I have another code I'm giving out. You don't need to email me giving me your code. I appreciate all that, but I already have someone, so thank you. You can go get on our list for this at teslanomics.co/TD, and you will get my friend's code, and so you can still get free supercharging. The $1,000 discount is gone, but you still do get free supercharging on an S or an X. So if you're in the market, want to make sure you get that federal EV tax credit before the end of the year, go to teslanomics.co/TD and get that code, and then you can get free supercharging on your S or X. And of course, one of the fun things about this is that I'll be sharing, vlogging this whole experience with the SpaceX stuff whenever that happens. I assume it'll be sometime next year. So thank you for your support there. Next, I have something really cool that I'm so jealous about. A friend of the show, Eric, who also has a really great YouTube channel about Tesla, had some news. He built a supercharger in his garage, and it's pretty awesome. It's incredibly well done, and so I would go check it out. I'll put the link to the description, or to his video in the description. But yeah, check it out, his channel. He vlogs a lot and covers a lot of the stuff, but he does some really cool DIY type stuff. So go check that out. I'm jealous. Maybe he'll come out to here, California, and we can kind of do one. Although my garage is kind of a giant mess, so yeah, I guess maybe that's what I'm more jealous about. Okay, so next week I'm going to the Tesla truck unveil in LA, and it'll be, at the Jet Center up here in Hawthorne, whatever. I'll be vlogging about it. Stay tuned for this Friday's video. I'm going to be talking about what I hope to see. Like I mentioned, I'll vlog the whole event. I'll do a first impressions video. I'll try to get all the details I can. I know you guys are, lining up to put a deposit down on a Tesla truck. Okay, maybe not. But one thing about this, notably absent from this email versus the other ones and all the other stuff, notice it doesn't say Tesla semi-truck anywhere. Doesn't say that. Not in the email. Nowhere does it say semi-truck. Now, Elon has also said that there's a big surprise that will be there. Maybe he's just saying that because otherwise people might not care nearly as much. I'm super excited about this. But there have also been rumors that maybe that secret could be a new truck. We'll see. It is coincidental that, no longer does the invite say semi-truck. It just says truck. So yeah, maybe that was just a Freudian slip, or maybe that was intentional. We'll find out coming up next week. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Now, with this, I am curious how many of you guys would buy or would line up to make a reservation on a Tesla truck. I think that would be, or when they do it, it'll be pretty awesome. Other rumors that I've heard is that it could be supercharger V3, which makes sense to me. So this is a supercharger that Tesla rumored that they would release, which will get up to 350 kilowatts or faster charging rates. And that would make total sense considering you will have a truck with, obviously a much bigger battery to fill up. So we'll see kind of what the details are. But stay tuned here on the YouTube channel and Facebook and all that, and I will be updating you as time comes next week. Okay. Last story of the day before we get into Q&A, and hopefully everything's been streaming well out there. I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I hope it all worked. This is a new experiment doing the multi-stream. So last story is Doug DeMuro doing a review of a Model 3. And I like his videos a lot. If you guys aren't familiar, he's kind of an auto blogger. He has a column on Auto Trader. And yeah, he makes really cool videos here. And I just like his style of reviews and all that. So he's calling it the coolest car of 2017. I'm totally jealous that he got to review one. But hey, I'll soon have my own and be able to make all kinds of fun videos for you guys. Hopefully, if there's any kind of things that haven't been explored yet. And regardless, I'll enjoy just having a Model 3. Okay, great. So thank you all for joining me on that. Now we're going to get into the Q&A section. So on Crowdcast, I'm going to stop sharing that. And over on YouTube, it looks like this will work. But what I need to do now is I need to drag this over, drag it into here. And YouTube's going to be freaking out for a little bit. So I'm going to go into the questions section and make that full screen. And there you go. I'm going to hide the chat just to kind of simplify it for you there. Okay, great. So I'll give you 5 seconds here. Go vote on a question that you like, or ask a new one, and then I'll kind of lock that in and we'll go from there. Just double check. It looks like things are still streaming on YouTube. And let me just check the other streaming stuff. Looks like it's going everywhere else. Nobody's watching on Facebook, but hey, whatever. We'll figure that out later. I'm not quite sure how Facebook works. Okay, so first question. I'll click Start Answering. This is from Brian. Is exposure to polluted air, water, and soil caused 9 million premature deaths in 2015, according to a report published Thursday in The Lancet. Is there any legal action we as Americans can take against the current administration in regards to their moves away from a cleaner future? I don't think so. Don't think that there's probably a legal precedent there. It would be extremely hard. Chances are that other legal action coming from other parts of the government will maybe lead to changes here. I'm with you. It's annoying. It's frustrating. I would say the best thing we can do is try to spread the word of, of switching over to more sustainable forms of energy and transportation, and then doing the most that we can personally. So that's what I would encourage. Change starts with us, and let's make it happen. So thanks for the question. Got a question here from Josu. Hopefully I pronounced it right. Sorry. He asks, so I know from what I was told, the voice control can manipulate 4 things: Slacker, navigation, bug reports, and phone. Oh, I didn't know it could do bug reports. But when I did a test drive, I found if I wanted to change the temps while driving, it took some practice to remember where to press, or maybe I'll touch something else. Do you know if the voice command will become smarter to control temps or other stuff while driving? Yeah, sure. It definitely will in the future. But as of right now, no, it cannot do that. And I, too, am incredibly annoyed. I think that they could do a far better job than they currently are doing. So, yeah. Thanks for the question. And yeah, it keeps getting better and better over time. I envision this being something that they definitely will do. I really hope it comes soon because it is really annoying. But you can also, I think, adjust that to one of the scroll wheels on the steering wheel. That might be an option too. So there you go. Hope that helps. Mel asks, hi Mel. I made a day one reservation for Model 3, but I have now purchased Model S75, as I am aware, so congrats. I've not canceled my Model 3 order, yet I don't know if I can afford both cars. What are others, same situation, doing? What options are there? So you can go onto the website and you can cancel. That's something you can do. Now, the question is whether or not you could like sell that. And I did a video on this where essentially you can't sell your reservation, but you could in theory buy the car and then sell it if you wanted to. And chances are, depending on when your reservation comes in, that you could make money on it because there'll be scarcity in the product. So that's an option. But yeah, I mean that's a risk, up to you. I'll tell you what I'm doing. I have 2 reservations, as you saw. I'm going to buy the first one right away as soon as I can get it, do some videos with it, share my experience, talk about different things, really explore it and get to know it so I can share that experience with you guys. Then I may sell that one and buy the second one because at that time we'll have all-wheel drive, performance mode, et cetera, and then get that one and use that to do more videos with, as well as potentially hang on to that one for my own use. So that's kind of what I'm doing. It depends on when. I would say you may be able to sell it, but again, you're kind of putting a risk there. So be careful about anything like that. Thanks for the question. Thanks for joining yet again, Mel. Pyre asks, in the view of Model 3 delays until second quarter of 2018, how many reservation holders will bail? I reserved day one in person, and I have waited about 2 years. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think a lot of people will. Again, it really probably the GOP tax line killing the EV credit would, I imagine, affect more people. But again, I think this is a premium vehicle. I don't think it's something that I would worry too much about in those regards. But maybe that'll move you up sooner. Yeah. Thanks for the question. Humphrey asks, congrats on the Roadster win. What, with the bottlenecks aside, is there any likelihood that the UK EU cars will drift into 2020? Maybe. Although by end of next year, they should have production pretty well ramped up. Although with the UK cars, I believe they're right-hand drive, and so there may be some additional hurdles that they have to accomplish. I believe those are finished in Germany. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, I doubt it'll be 2020, but it may drift a little bit, a few months here or there. Hopefully they can make up the slack there next year after they kind of get the production lines all ramped up. So there you go. Thanks for the question and for joining. John asks, how low do you think the price on a highway legal EV will go? 10 to 15 before tax credits? Well, there's some pretty cheap ones out there already. In fact, you can get a Nissan Leaf used for around $17,000, if not cheaper. I think down the road we'll see a lot cheaper options. I don't know if Tesla will ever make one that cheap, but certainly some EVs will be around there. And I think you can probably find something in that realm that's used now. So yeah, thanks for the question. Sachin asks, when will we know if the tax bill is definitely passed or failed? Yeah, okay, so it'll be a while. Okay, I'll take it back. They said they want it done by Thanksgiving. It's the U.S. government. Things never happen that fast. Maybe before the end of the year we'll know. And then also there's changes that the Senate may make. And then, if they get enough lobbying pressure, whether or not it gets scrapped entirely. So there's still a long ways to go in terms of the life of the bill or the passing of it. People that I know have expressed that they think this has a higher likelihood. Again, I look at all the major legislation that the Republicans have tried to pass so far, and none of it has went through that I can recall. So I'm not really that optimistic that this one will pass either. Although maybe it's a bit more. It's maybe like the most likely to pass because it's in comparison probably the least divisive of the legislation. So yeah, we'll see, but just stay tuned. I'm sure all the major news outlets will be doing that, and of course I'll be covering what I know and specifically this provision that I'm interested in, and how that shakes out in the coming weeks. Thanks for joining and thanks for the question. Lance asks, I know Elon has stated that lease plans will not be available for the Model 3 in the beginning. However, with the tax credit possibly going away, do you think that Tesla could prioritize leasing to help customers with better monthly payments? Yeah, that's a good question. I still don't think it's likely. And it's because they want the capital, and also because they don't really have anything to base the depreciation of it on. So that's kind of hard. But I think I think that's a thing that we'll find out more soon. I wouldn't hold my breath though. I'm guessing that it won't be available for quite a while. Now you may be able to wait though. You may be able to get to the point where you don't actually take your reservation until it is available. So that's an option as well. Dane asks, Zach and Jesse are driving to see all the people that help them get their Roadster. Will you also? Well, that would be amazing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll join them on that. Now, that'd be hard because I know that there are at least a dozen or so that are not in the U.S. But yeah, I mean, certainly when I have the opportunity, I'd love to meet up with folks. Once I get the Roadster, I'll probably be planning a meetup here in Southern California to kind of show it to people, or maybe there'll be an EV day or something like that we can kind of have fun with. But yeah, time permitting, I'd love to do that. Thanks, Dane. Johnny A asks, have you or anyone you know experienced steering wheel vibrations in the S? No, I've not. I know what you're talking about. That's something that I've had in many of my other cars before, but not with my S. I've not had that. Maybe it could be an alignment thing. I think that's typically what it is. So yeah, could be that, but no, I've not had that experience. Thanks for the question. Johnny asks again, have you or anyone you know experienced not being able to unlock the S when walking up to the car or trying to activate the key fob? This happened to me with our loaner 100D. Okay, yeah, two things. Yes, I have had that. It's because, and when I have, it's been because my cell phone is in the pocket with the key fob. Now, I'm really good. Thanks for bringing this up. The Model 3, it'll unlock from your phone, right? Or the key card as a backup. I want the Model S to unlock from my phone in the same way. I think that would be a far better system. Yeah, but that's when I've had that happen. Also, if you walk up from behind in my car, it has a hard time recognizing the sensor. So sometimes I have to double click the thing or walk up to the front. So yeah, it happens. It's just a matter of the sensors and all that. So yeah, maybe the loaner didn't have the same sensors that you had. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for the question and for joining. Barry asks, at the conference call, Elon seemed to indicate that if self-driving hardware is needed, a hardware update, you would have to pre-order to get the hardware for free. That is an interesting point. I think that's actually really valid. That you need to pre-order the full self-driving in order to get the hardware update. Yeah, I agree with that, and that makes sense. If you don't order it and they come back later and say, hey, well, it's this and that. But they have stated that all cars come with it as well. So there's a kind of a mix there. I'll have to listen. I haven't gotten that far in the conference call yet, but that is interesting, and I kind of agree with them. Thanks for the question, Barry. All right, Brian asked, do you know exactly what supplier dropped the ball at the Gigafactory? No, I think they said it was Module 1, Module 2, and I believe that would be Panasonic. Don't quote me on that. I believe I saw that on Teslarati as well. So I'm going to go with Panasonic, but I could be wrong. John asks, do you think that the Model 3 needs a heads-up display to properly display the speeds of the driver? No, I do not. However, I still have the Navity unit that I got from them for the review I did, and when I get my Model 3, I will put it in there and take it for a spin and see and show you guys what it looks like. I actually estimate that it'll be great for the Model 3. I thought for the S, it was a bit too distracting because it was directly in your line of sight, like you couldn't look around it very easily. But with the Model 3 having that really flat dash behind it and not having the binacle dash, as they call it, right behind the steering wheel, I think it might sit a little lower and it might be perfect. So I'll let you know as soon as I get my 3 and kind of take it for a test drive. Okay, thanks for the questions, everyone, and thanks for joining me here on another episode of Teslanomics Live. Stay tuned for a video this week on Wednesday about SpaceX internet service. What? Yep. And this Friday about what I want to see at the Tesla Semi event. And if you stayed with me this long, please do me a favor. Go to our Facebook page, Tesla, or facebook.com/Teslanomics. Give us a like. And that way you'll also get all the updates and things that we'll be sharing, giveaways and whatnot around TeslaCon. And lastly, remember, when you free the data, your mind will follow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Cheers.